Don't be getting me canceled.
Just on your own podcast.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
Hey y'all, it's your host Jessica Jordan, and I'm here on Access Denied, the podcast dedicated to helping you get over your fear of rejection, one episode at a time. Let's go! Hey y'all, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Access Denied. I am so freaking excited to introduce you to today's guest, Jonah Saesen. In today's episode, we talk about how Jonah essentially joined the military on a dare. Yeah, you definitely want to hear that story. And then how he transitioned to have a successful career in acting and comedy. We talk about rejection and the presence of AI in the art, and so many more things. Y'all don't want to miss out on this episode, so stay tuned and let's dive in. Hey, Jonah. Welcome to Access Denied. How are you doing today?
I'm doing super good. We're just talking about how it's rainy out, but I'm not minding it. I'm in the mood for it.
You're in the mood for it. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have like a cup of tea, a book? Are you feeling cozy?
I'm drinking a very Hawaiian beverage. It's called Pog. It's just passion orange guava juice, and I like the rain. I'm into it sometimes, as long as we're getting good weather, which we finally are here in Chicago now. So, I'm enjoying the rain in between some really nice warm days.
Okay, that's fair. It has been warm the last couple days. I will give it that. It's been so bad this spring / we're still in spring technically. So yeah, it's not good. It's been bad.
It's not good, but I'm hopeful that this isn't just a very long winter. I think it's just a delayed season. So I'm hoping that means late September we'll still be in the 90s. That'd be fun.
90s is a bit crazy.
I agree. That's insane. But I just hope that the good weather sticks around. Yes.
That's fair. That's super fair. I also agree. I hope we have a late summer this year, since we've had kind of no spring. I would say no spring.
No spring. I agree. It looks like spring. It feels. It doesn't feel like it, but everywhere I look, I'm like, the flowers think it is. They're happy about it. I feel like it's gaslighting us. The flowers are all happy, and I'm like, no, it's crazy out. It's too cold. Why are you all so happy and pretty?
Honest to God, how are they blooming? Because I feel like I just want to crumple on the couch every day.
I'm not blooming, Jessica.
No.
I'm not. I'm wilting.
I'm wilting.
I've got frostbite. I can't survive any longer. Change my water, up the temperature a little bit.
Oh my goodness. I am so excited for this conversation already. Jonah, you and I just met so recently at this YouTube event, which is so fun to me because before that, we didn't know each other all this, and I feel like I rarely have guests on here that I haven't known for years. So it's so fun.
Ooh, oh, that's fun.
I know. I'm pumped. It's going to be a good time. I hope. But one thing that immediately drew me to you to have on is the fact that you're a comedian and actor. And I feel like this topic being about rejection, all the actors, all the comedians I've had on, I feel like that's just the profession. It's built into the profession,
Yeah, I think absolutely we've built ourselves into a corner of constantly being reminded that we will be rejected on a daily basis. So I see people online do rejection therapy and things like that because they're so terrified of it. And it's just not a thing an actor will ever consider doing, or I don't even think musicians really I think they fit in the same camp just because they're just so used to it. It's built into our life already. Why would I go out and seek out more rejection?
That's super fair. But with that said, before we get too deep into this, I would love for you to give your little elevator pitch, who you are, what you do, that sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm an actor comedian here in Chicago, although I do that all over the place. And I also am a content creator. So online, I do comedy, sketch videos. I also do a little bit of live action mixed with animation, which is a super fun I call it a Who Framed Roger Rabbit-esque style videos. So I do kind of both parts of those two things. And then I like to do behind the scenes videos too, to show people how I do any of that work. But yeah, in my real life, I'm an actor. I do a lot of commercial work here in Chicago. I also like doing TV and film. Chicago's just more of a commercial market. So it's what I found myself doing the most of. And I've been professionally acting since 2014. So just over 10 years now. But I've been an actor my whole life, doing school plays since a fifth grade musical, and I got the bug and I was hooked. My weird story is that out of high school, I joined the Marine Corps on a dare and then ended up doing the Marine Corps for 10 years, which was not the plan at all. So did that on a dare, ended up staying in, and always was like looking for ways to get back into acting or how I could take it more seriously. So here I am taking it seriously and doing it professionally for over 10 years now.
I saw the Dare thing on your website and it immediately was like, I gotta ask about it. So like how did it get to that point, you know, where you were like, oh, I did it and I actually am gonna actually go through with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like most dares, it happens immediately and then regret. But like, so it was a very quick situation. Me and three of my best friends from high school, in a very cheesy way, we called ourselves Jerk because our names stood for Jonah, Eric, Ricky, Kenyon together. We put that together and just called ourselves Jerk. Super stupid.
Amazing.
And we were all hanging out one night. Ricky had always planned to be going to the Marines. His grandpa was a Marine. It was like a family legacy thing for him. So we're all talking about how he's leaving in like a week and we're having the sleepover. And someone brought up, oh, wouldn't it be fun if we all joined? Wouldn't that be so cool? And we start sharing stories of what we think it would be like if we were all in boot camp together. And it kind of is one by one, everyone saying what they think it would be like for all of us to be at boot camp. And then when it gets to me, I'm like, oh man, we'd be so good at everything. And like, we'd have like, I was just like kind of trying to pile on in a fun way. And they all looked at me like deer in headlight looks. And they're like, Jonah, no, you would never make it through boot camp. I was like, what? And they just like, you couldn't survive it. You're a theater kid. You've never played sports. And I was like, I did men's volleyball that one year. And so like, I just felt very like attacked that they thought I couldn't do it. And they were like, basically I took it as I have to do this. And I literally went to my buddy Ricky's same recruiter. The day after he left for boot camp, I went to his recruiter and I said, could I be at boot camp in a week? Could you make that happen? And this guy lost his mind. He was like, yeah, of course I could. You're the perfect candidate. I will get you there right now. And so without like any training, usually people are in like this program called MEPS for a while, like prepping for what it's going to be like. I didn't think anything through. I just said, I want to be at boot camp in a week. And he made it happen, which was just a week of filling out paperwork, telling a few people, explaining to my parents that I'm doing it. And then I get to boot camp. I don't see Ricky right away because we're in different platoons. But the only time you can see people from other platoons at boot camp is if you go to church on Sunday, because it's the only time where you get time to yourself. And so I go to church knowing he'll be there. And I'm looking in a sea of people wearing the exact same outfit, all with their head shaved. So I can't really find him. So like a couple songs go by. And then finally I realize he's only like one row behind me and like 10 people over. And I spot him and he doesn't know I'm coming. So I'm just like locking eyes with him, waiting for him to recognize me. And as soon as he sees me, we just like break out laughing, like hysterically laughing, like, oh my God, what the hell's happening? And then after that calm down happened and like that was the end of the singing. So we all sat down and like the sermon started. And I just realized in that terrified moment, like, oh my God, I just signed an 8-year contract for this moment and now it's over. And I'm stuck in an 8-year contract. Yeah. So that's how much I thought it through.
Well, you know what? You were what, 18?
Yes. Yep.
That's like, you gave it a good like 12 hours. Like that's more than some 18.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess I had the whole week to back out of it, but there were like, I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I didn't like try justifying it in other ways, right? At the time, this is 2003. So I was in the mind of like, oh, I'm going to be helping my country and this and that. Like these other thoughts were there too. But genuinely, I was doing it for the dare. I was like, oh, this is why I'm doing this. Which is a terrible reason to do anything that involves you signing your life away.
Well, you stayed an extra 2 years. You must have gotten something out of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, I did. I joined as a reservist. That felt a little safer to me. And when I was getting out, so I had already actually been deployed once and came home, thought I was going to get out completely. And I got this random call from a gunnery sergeant I didn't know. And he was like, hey, we're offering you a job. You're one of these very few people qualified for this job in Hawaii right now. And it's a special offer because you'd be getting out where you'd have to extend your contract. So they were offering me more money and I'd get to live off base. And it was like more money than anyone should get paid at my rank. And so I hung up on him because I was like, this is a prank phone call. Hung up on him. And instead of him calling me back, he emailed me from his USMC email address to say, hey, I understand you thought this was not real. Here's my info. Look up the base and like call me back. And I called him back like 2 minutes later, like, so sorry, Gunny. Didn't believe you. What's up? What's this offer? And then it was a real offer to go live in Hawaii. So I took that very quickly after convincing Katie, my wife, to go forward with that because we were finishing college. So it was kind of a hard convince that like, hey, we should put off finishing college like our last semester to go do this thing.
I could see that being a hard convince. That's
Yeah.
a tough one, but you did it.
The timing was rough, and we were both scared that it was going to extend how long it was going to take us to graduate. But you can't say, I don't think you can say no to it, obviously, because I took that. And it was an amazing experience. And we also, this is how it actually worked out really, really well. We didn't know she was pregnant when I took the job, and we didn't have insurance. So if I wouldn't have taken the job, it would have like probably financially ruined us. And instead, the exact opposite happened. We got to feel what it's like to have universal health care, which is what it's like to be in the military, right? It's like amazing. Everyone should have this. And so, like, yeah, when we had our son, we had him in Hawaii. And I think we got a bill from the hospital for $1.40. It was something around that. And that's how much it cost us to have him.
$1.40 is actually bananas.
Yeah.
Why even charge that at that point?
It would have been free, but we requested to have him off base at like a nice hospital in our town of Kailua. So we were like, oh, we want to have him at that hospital. And they were like, it's going to cost you money. And we're like, it'll be fine. And then we got that bill and we laughed so hard.
That is incredible. So I have so many questions. I don't think I've ever met anybody that's lived in Hawaii. So first of all, I'd love to hear about that experience. That's so cool.
Yeah. Oh man. This is me coming, like, I'll walk you through the way I felt because I like pointing out how stupid I am before I learn something. But genuinely, like, I'd never even thought I needed to go to Hawaii and this is the stupidest thought I'll probably ever say. I was like, I've been to the Caribbean. Why do I need to go to Hawaii? Like, genuinely, that was like, I was like, isn't it the same? And that is the stupidest thing I've ever thought, because it is incredible. It's just a beautiful fusion of Asian culture and Polynesian culture and American culture in this one space, unlike anything else. The Hawaiian customs and culture are some of my favorite in the whole world, of just thoughts on how to live your life and how to care for the planet and how to be respectful of land and people. And I just can't believe that I just like overlooked the idea of like how amazing Hawaii was. And then truly you understand why they love the world as much as they do, because you'll never go anywhere like that doesn't feel so bountiful and so providing from a place. I don't even understand how to explain this place besides like the way you can just grab fruit from a tree while you're underneath a waterfall and be like, this is a real place. How is this not like a fictional place?
I've never been to visit even, but every picture I've ever seen, every video I've ever seen, it looks fake. It looks not real.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a problem with over tourism, and the places that tourists are like kind of placed and pushed to are kind of the worst parts of Hawaii, because the things that are wonderful about Hawaii are kind of untouched or at least respected at a bare minimum. And so it is a hard place to like be like, oh, I'm not trying to sell it to people to go like ruin it, but I'm also like, it is a magical place.
And I think that's something you get from living there versus visiting too. And that's why I was like curious, like what your experience was. And I'm so happy that it was so infused with so much cultural richness. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it was, I think a lot of people also talk about like, oh, I could never live on an island because I would get like island fever. And I just never felt that way. We lived on Oahu, and Oahu has literally everything you could think of when you think of a place like Hawaii. So like, it's going to have those picturesque things that feel serene, and you might have a beach to yourself at some point. But you also can go to a major city and have an amazing dinner in Honolulu and feel what city life feels like. So yeah, I never got bored. And when we go back, when we visit, like we'll go to all of our favorite restaurants that are still open, but several of them will have closed. And then we're checking out new places that have opened. So I feel like the same with Chicago, right? Like you can't really get bored here. Things are always evolving. Every street always feels different. Every like 2 years, it feels like there's this complete change and shift that is always happening. It really feels alive.
I agree 100% about Chicago having that feeling. It's a wonderful city. I've lived in 2 major cities in my adult life, and Chicago's a really special place. Are you from Chicago originally? Is that how you ended up back here?
I'm not allowed to say I'm from Chicago. According to Chicagoers, I'm from Waukegan, Illinois, so northern suburbs. I would never claim Chicago, but I do, like, I'm in the city proper now. But yeah, I'm from the burbs, so not far off.
I'm not even from the burbs, so I'm from much further south in Illinois comparatively.
What was the
but
city in Illinois? I remember we talked about this, but
Pontiac, Illinois?
okay, Pontiac. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's like, what is the population of Pontiac? Like 2,000? What are we talking?
It's 10,000,
Okay.
but, well, actually, I think it's 11, but, like, a portion of that are prison inmates because we have a, like, big penitentiary there.
Okay, got it. Yeah, what
Yeah.
portion are you outnumbered in Pontiac? Is it like 6,000 inmates, 5,000 residents? What is this?
I don't think it's ever been like that. I do think the numbers have gone down, so they've shrunk the prison over the last, like, 2 decades or
The
whatever.
really? Wow. The first prison I've ever heard of it happening.
Same, to be quite honest. It's been, like, it's honestly sad because it's gotten rid of a lot of jobs in Pontiac then too, and, like, the economic draw to the town is pretty low now.
Wow, Jessica on record saying it's sad that they're reducing the number of prisoners. Okay.
No!
All right, just
No,
gonna
no, no,
put
no.
that noted.
Don't be getting me canceled.
Just
right
on your
now.
own podcast.
Okay, no, I need to rephrase. They're not getting rid of the prisoners, they're just moving them elsewhere. That's
Right.
the problem.
That is no, genuinely, yes. Just moving them where there's less regulation, probably, which is really gross in itself.
Yes, 100%.
Nice recovery, by the way. Good
Thank
save.
you. I try. Has she been on the internet for a minute? Does she know?
Very
The
well.
vultures be out here.
Oh, for sure. Hopefully not following your every move. Hopefully not like listening to your like podcast and taking mean notes. I hope.
You know what? There's always a couple, but like most of them stay in like the shorts, I feel like, which
Yes.
makes it easier to tolerate.
Yeah, because they're not real fans. They're haters, right? Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of, okay, content creation. Let's get into that for a second, right?
Sure.
Since we're talking about hate comments.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So you get out of the Marine Corps, right? Or the reserves, and you start making videos on the internet. What's that transition like?
So funny. Yeah. So, all right. So when I got out, which was 2013, I really wanted, like, I tried to do acting while I was still in, but it's kind of obviously stupid to be able to do anything. There's not like a role I can get booked in anything that I would be able to take time off for real. So I would do extra work and whatever I possibly could do to feel like I was still in that scene. I did at my college, University of Wisconsin Parkside, I did like Pride and Prejudice. And so I was trying to do what I could. But after getting out, I felt like, okay, how do I actually take this seriously? And that was moving to Chicago and taking classes at Second City. So enrolled in classes at Second City right away. Took me about a year to get an agent. So by 2014, I think I got my first acting agent. And would just do really random, student films and things like that. I was really proud of some Onion videos that I got to do when I first moved to the city, because the Onion, if you don't know, satirical newspaper, but they also do a lot of videos online. At the time, their video stuff was like my favorite thing coming out of Chicago. I loved their like short news stories that they were doing as video stories. And so when I booked my first one of those, I was so excited. I think I got paid $50 for 4 hours. And it is what my first viral video. It was called, my first one was called Average Male 4,000% Less Effective in Fights Than He Imagines. And that was just I just had a blast. It was a perfect role for me. I still had a classic Marine haircut. And so everything about that was like very fitting and funny. And then the next one that I got to do only a couple months later was I think one of the Onion's biggest, most viral videos, which was soldier returns home to surprise total stranger. and it's a very long short video, like it's like 4 minutes or whatever, and it's basically like one of those fake like stories of like someone coming home and surprising a family member, but instead I'm coming home to surprise. I can't remember the character's name, but uh, and I'm like, and it's gonna be really surprising because he doesn't know who I am, and so I'm ambushing someone in a parking lot and surprising them that I'm home from Iraq, and I'm in uniform. I have a picture of myself that says "surprise" with a period at the end, and I'm like handing it to him. It's a wildly fun video, and so like doing that kind of work made me like, this is yes, I'm obsessed with comedy. It's not the only type of acting I like to do, but I'm obsessed with it. I'm very good at improv, and I want to do as much of it as possible. That being said, after finishing the acting program or improv program at Second City and the writing program, I started performing around the city and then performing, shows at Second City. Even I was putting up my own produced show there called Stars and Gripes with other veterans that are stand-up comics or improvisers, and we were just doing sketches about the crazy people we met in the military or the crazy experiences that we went through from a very comedic lens, and it was really fun. And then everything shut down during the pandemic, and I was like, what the fuck do I do creatively? Like, I felt totally lost, and I installed TikTok truly just out of boredom, just because I was like, what is this? I am twiddling my thumbs. And immediately was like, oh, so excited to find out it wasn't just dancing. And it was right. Like, it was just like, oh, this is so surprisingly creative. And the things people are coming up with to do here are so creative. And actually, I kind of feel like it's very rooted in improv and the idea of like a playground where you see someone else's idea and you yes and that. And you can do that in so many different ways. And so what I started thinking about is like, how could I apply kind of my art degree and my comedy into what I'm doing here? So I just started posting silly videos. I had a comedy one pop off, and then like 3 videos later, I did something animated, and that one popped off. And I was like, I guess these are the things I'm going to do now. So that's really supplemented being able to feel still creatively fulfilled and like finding collaborators and other people doing similar things in a space when like we couldn't do that in person.
I mean, you've collabed with some of my favorite creators on the internet, like
Who are you talking about?
Costin Mayer.
Mm, love Costin Mayer. Oh my God. They just announced, this is so funny. So that was like maybe 2 years ago now, or like a year and a half ago, something like that. But we did a Phineas and Ferb animated collab together where I animated all of us turning into us if we look like Phineas and Ferb characters. And I did 2 of those with them. And just like, I'd say in the last like month and a half, they announced that they got to choreograph dance for the latest season of Phineas and Ferb. Did you see this?
I didn't see
So
that announcement, but that's so cool.
Robin, right? Like, so yeah, Dan, the creator of Phineas and Ferb, commented on those videos back then. I think they might have been friends already, or at least they knew each other. And so he loved that. And then that's been one of their dreams for a while now. Is they want to, obviously they're choreographers and they're phenomenal at it, but something that they really think or they want to be their niche is like being able to do that for animation or animated films. And so doing that for Phineas and Ferb, I know, was like a fulfilled dream for them. So I was very happy to see that.
That is so exciting. Good for them. I mean, first of all, I just want to say I'm pumped for the new season of Phineas and Ferb as a viewer because that was one of the best shows for me growing up.
Adorable. I love it. Yeah, it's so cute. The music is incredible. And what amazes me about that show is how they translated the songs even into like every language. So like I didn't really know that element of it until we started posted these videos online, because people from like every country would post in different languages. Like I was like, oh, this is so interesting. They know the songs from Phineas and Ferb. And I went and looked it up and like, yeah, they translated these songs into like, I don't want to lie about how many languages, but I felt like it was like more than a dozen different languages. They re-sang the song in all these different spaces. And I just love that it's a universal, like across the world beloved show.
I did not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, because that takes so much work, right? To do it for the music as well. I understand like dubbing, pretty simple, but to do it for the music as well is really impressive to me.
I agree 100%. That, like, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I am impressed. I think Dan, the creator of that show too, like I watch his videos a lot as well,
Yeah.
and he seems super chill. So very cool that he commented on that video, and I did see that video specifically. So,
And
um,
he's good friends with my friend Carolyn Dunton, who I've also done videos with too, more in the comedy space, not in the animated space. But yeah, so I feel like I don't know Dan personally, but I have a lot of mutual friends.
So, okay, one thing that I love about your content is like that use of animation. I think it's so unique to you in so many ways. I think it's so cool. And like I know you kind of said like you were just toying with it a bit in COVID, but like what made you really lean into that? Because I feel like you have really lent into that.
Yeah, I guess the great answer, or I don't know if it's a satisfying answer, but the truth was just there was so much time in that COVID space. So like to me, drawing feels therapeutic. Making art feels therapeutic. I'm sure a lot of artists agree with that. Um, and I don't believe that to be true for me for only drawing. I feel any form of art that I'm creating feels therapeutic, and I kind of need a little bit of all of it. But at that time
Mm.
specifically, there was just so much time. So what that made me go is like, I should play around with more animation. I haven't done a lot of animation. Everything I've done in animation was self-taught. So it was just a beautiful time to sit down and be like, you know what? If I animate this, it might take me 8 days, but it doesn't matter because I'm working from home. We're not going outside. We're not going to restaurants. It's kind of just this fun thing that I can be using to fill my time. And it was therapy, and it felt great. And I definitely have done a lot of After Effects work already, so I definitely was really practiced in mixing medias already and doing the After Effects editing. So to me, it was a no-brainer to kind of be like, oh, I can kind of mix these two things in a way that I don't think everyone can. There might be animators, there might be editors, but here I can step into a space where I can kind of show the best of both of these things combined.
No, because I don't, and truly, I don't think I've seen anybody else do it in the way where you're combining it with like live action, right? In like such a seamless way.
Yeah,
Like that Costin Mayer video, like you guys like are moving about and the animation just like is part of it. It's like
right.
so seamless.
That's so sweet of you. That's so nice. There are people I'll be bad at saying names right now, but like there's like at the time I hadn't seen it. So I was just like, "Ooh, I want to do this." But I feel like there is such an awesome art scene on the social media apps, and it's annoying. This is going to be a complaint for no good reason. I feel like I have to seek it out so hard. I feel like the app doesn't want to give it to me. It's like, here's what's trending. Here's what's this. And I'm like, please give me more art. And I beg for it. And it's like, here's a little bit. And then back to the pranks, or back to the like people, like it just tries to, and each algorithm's different, but specifically, um, I feel like Instagram was really bad at giving me art, and it took it. I feel like I forced it. I was like, I demand you show me artists. And finally, I have a really good feed of it, and I have found some other people doing kind of similar stuff in the space, and it's really cool to see how no one's looks the same, because as soon as you mix those mediums, you're going to see a lot of individuality, just like the way someone edits a film, right? Like you see so much uniqueness in the way, like, oh, that's that director, right? I feel like it's the same thing with this. As soon as you mix someone's skill sets in this unique way where they're doing all of it and they're doing the post-production and the animation, you get to kind of get the sense of like, oh, what a beautiful thing that you could have a dozen or 50 people even doing this kind of work now, and none of those videos feel the same at all.
I love that as well when it comes to like art and everything, because I think like I love ChatGPT and I know it's killing the environment, but I do love ChatGPT for like bouncing ideas off of from time to time, maybe to be my therapist if I'm having a really bad
Oh
day and
no,
can't
Jessica.
afford the $60 fee or whatever it is.
No, Jessica. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
I have
okay.
therapy. I have therapy later with a real person.
Okay, I have a real therapist too, but like sometimes in those in-between
No,
days.
sorry. Go on.
But like AI, I don't love it in the creative space 98% of the time. Like I think there's cool ways to like integrate it in some capacities, but like I think it takes a lot of that uniqueness out of creation, and it takes away from artists like yourself and these others that are in the space and how epic it can be to mix those mediums, you know?
Absolutely. I am so with you. I hate the use of AI for creative space, and I'm very against it. That being said, I don't think it makes sense to completely ignore it or pretend it's not there. I I'm just the same way as like I didn't understand TikTok, so I installed TikTok. I do the same thing with AI. I'm like, I want to know what it's doing, what it's up to, because I don't want to turn my back on something that I feel like could stab us all. So I'm paying attention to it. I'm like, but genuinely, that's how I feel about it. I'm looking back at it like with an eye, like I'm just keeping eyes on the back of my head of it. So I just want to be aware of what it's up to. But I do hate it genuinely. I want to be understanding of the fact that like a very difficult thing to figure out where to draw the line because there are good cases for it. And most of those to me come down to like scientific and medical breakthroughs that this thing can be doing. Um, but then when you come into the creative space, I get really upset about it. There's also like good arguments where I'm going to like kind of play against myself here for like, yeah, where do you draw that line then? Right. Because if I go, okay, well, if I'm an artist and a creative and I'm trying to develop a game, I could then say, all right, well, I'm an artist and creative, so I'm not going to use it for the creative stuff, but I will use it for the coding. Well, that's something that a coder could maybe raise their finger and go, I know you think that's just me, like labor, but I might love it. That might be therapy to me, is the way I get into code and find and fix problems. Math can be therapy for people, right? And so I do see that's where I start to see the problem where I'm like, I don't know where we draw the line on it. And I'm a little freaked out of us thinking that it's worthy of replacing humans in the work that they want to be doing is really, at the end of the day, I think what it shouldn't be replacing. If people want to be doing it, how are we going to justify that this is now the cheapest way to do it, and now no one can get those jobs anymore or be paid to do that work they love?
I love that perspective because I feel like I'm thinking about the things that I have ChatGPT do for me. Like I usually have it help me with like budgeting and stuff like that. Like not that I'm like little old me's gonna hire an accountant, right? Like it's
Sure.
just a me person. But like the grand scheme of things, like you take that to a higher scale and you're like, okay, what roles are getting cut? What like careers are being heavily impacted, and what does that look like for the future of like making sure there's enough work in the world for people that have different passions. And I think you're
Yeah.
right. There are people that love numbers. I might not be one of those people. I don't think you're one of those people, but they
I
exist.
do in a weird way. I do like in the way that like if you've ever been in After Effects and anyone listening that knows it, like there's a lot of math that goes into animating. There's a lot of math that goes into it. So like on a basic level, I appreciate it. I just don't like as soon as it gets to weird like theoretical math, I'm not interested. If I'm looking at graphs or trying to plot any sort of graph, I'm out. But I do like some simple math that I can be like, ooh, I solved it. I solved that problem.
You know what? That's fair. I miss algebra. I think about this
Yeah.
sometimes and how just simple it was. Like, oh, it's a little puzzle. And when you solve it, you feel accomplished. And it's like, oh, that's so satisfying. But
Right.
derivatives, anything in calculus, absolutely not. Can't.
Yeah.
Refuse.
Algebra is a fun one. I feel like algebra can feel like a coloring book for certain people's brains. And I'm in that mindset where I'm like, there is a right answer and I can solve this.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think one thing, so like with AI that people like lean on, right, is the fact that you can get things done so quickly. I think
Mm.
it's obviously cheap labor in some capacities, but like I think the bigger thing in many people's way is like, oh, well, I can produce a lot more content or insert whatever here because I have this robot computer thing
Yeah.
doing half the work. And so I guess like that's a question I have for you as somebody who does your own animation. Like I imagine that takes days to weeks depending on how complex the
Yes.
like drawings are. So you're putting out content at like a slower pace then in some capacity. Like how do you not feel compelled to lean into the AI of it all? Or like how do you even maintain just like that style of video in an industry, and also I think like an algorithm that benefits creators who are more like consistent, or
Yeah.
not consistent, but you know what I mean, like quick with it.
No, you're right about consistent too, because the algorithm preferences people that post 3 times a week on their app, right? So Instagram isn't like secretive about that. They straight up have like little seminars where they're like, here's the best way to stay on top of the algorithm, and we benefit anyone that's doing it. Which truly is counter to artists like myself or claymation animators or anyone else that puts a lot of time and sweat and energy into their stuff. There are people that I feel like have worked around that, and that's super smart, and I'm impressed by them while also not wanting to be them. And I'll say that because there are artists that are like, maybe they're a quilting artist that quilts interesting, like, I don't know, maybe they create amazing shirts or sweaters or even dresses or art that they hang on the wall. What they'll do is they'll be amazing film editors, and they'll document the process in such interesting ways, or they'll be paying attention to trends, and they'll make maybe 20 videos out of one project, right? So they might have quilted one art piece, but they were able to find a way to like post it 20 different times because it's not a video at the end of the day. I feel like it's a little harder for me to do that because my final output is the video that I post. I am giving the art away for free. And so I really feel like I only have one additional video I can do, which is maybe a behind the scenes. Like, oh, I'll post a behind the scenes video for it too. But that being said, I'm so impressed by it because that's them being really, really clever about being like, yeah, this is something that takes forever, but I can figure out a way to like work with the algorithm. I am against the algorithm being that that's the only right thing. And what I have found is the algorithm has gotten worse and worse at showing us the best videos that were posted any given day, and better at highlighting people that are consistent. And I don't think that is a worthwhile application to spend my time on anymore, which is why I spend less time on the apps than I ever have, because I'm not seeing the best videos anymore. And when I used to, it was exciting. And when now it's like, oh, we're just going to feed you the same people that like you get to see every day with a little bit of new stuff, it's not as exciting anymore. And it's not as creative, and it's not as beautiful, and it's not as good.
I 100% agree with that. I think, you know, in so many ways, the onset of short form video content, and like we had Vine and stuff before, but like with TikTok, I think it was the start and the end of the creative, unique voice in so many ways, because we got on board with all these trends. And like to this day, that's most of what I see in my feed. Sometimes I can get lucky. I feel like Reels is better for me actually than TikTok these days in terms of like showing me unique content at the very least. But it's just, I have trend fatigue. I'm so tired of being like scrolling every day. I mean, and that's probably good for me, right? Like it gets me out of the house more, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's like I have this problem with trends as well, because if something blows up as a trend, and that's fun, and I understand everyone wanting to like jump on the train of like, people are having fun, let's all have fun. What then happens from the user perspective though is like, if I see 50 videos where it's the exact same execution, what is the thing that's going to raise to the surface? Like what one's going to raise above the others? And really it's just going to be like, if these 50 videos are all the same, are we just going to, the one that's going to be the most popular is the one that people find the most attractive? Or it's hard to say, because like a trend is literally just taking someone else's idea and redoing it. So I feel like, yeah, what you end up with is like the most popular kids get the most views on a video that's trending. And so it's kind of like, wait a second, what are we doing? Why are we just highlighting the most popular kids already? Versus what I like to think of is the yes and mentality. So if I see a trend, my mindset is to go, if I can think of how to yes and this in a way that no one else is, I haven't seen anyone do yet, which is I do the trend, but I give it a twist or an ending that feels like my own, then I know I'm entering that space with the creativity that makes me feel like worthy to drop it online. But I have a hard time just dropping a trend. I do. I've done it just because I'm like, oh, that's fun and I want to play. So there's nothing wrong with it. I just kind of hate the algorithm approach to it then, because then, yes, like I said, I feel like it's a cool kids club for the stuff that gets popular.
I agree 100%. And I'm somebody who like posts trends, like not all the time, but like I will say it's the only way I ever seem to make traction online. Anything I make that's like
the algorithm
unique to myself,
because it's
popular. They're like, what's that? That's crazy. How dare you have an original thought? Don't do that. We can't think here.
Jessica, what does that do to your brain, right? Like, how does that make you feel when like you can do what the crowd's doing, or you can say, like, have your own piece and say, like, and then no one shows up, like that. It's not some people showing up. It's not people like refusing to open the door. It's the algorithm's fault. But no matter how much you tell yourself that, how does that feel?
Well, on a podcast about rejection and discrimination, it feels like a form of rejection, doesn't it? Because you put your time and energy and heart and soul into something, and then you have this computer that you don't really understand, basically being like, well, that's garbage, that's shit.
Yeah.
Enjoy no views, enjoy no no engagement, and you're like, oh, I suck, I'm bad. This is bad. I'm not creative. And I think like a lot of creators get in that, or like especially like new creators, right? Where like everybody's trying to find their own voice online. And how do you do that in a world where trends are favored?
And this is a double-edged sword because you are good and you are great at what you're doing, and your like, just because something gets 50 views has nothing to do with how quality that video was or how quality that essay was or whatever thing you're putting out there. It has nothing to do with it, which is the problem of the algorithm. That's not the fault of usership, I don't think. I think truly we should blame these apps for doing that to us. But there's also the double-edged sword here of thinking to yourself, I'm not good enough, so then I won't post. Because we also have to be willing to put our art out there when it's not good. We have to be willing to try things when we're not great at them. And it's okay to document those things. It's okay to put them out there, because I don't think many people start, or I think a lot of people don't start because they're terrified that they're not good. And the answer is you're probably not. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try, because you can't get better until you actually feel confident enough to start putting yourself out there. And as soon as you start having the thoughts, I'm not good enough, then you put the guitar down, or you put the art down, and you just go, I'm not good enough.
I am so glad you just said that, because that like is what is in my brain every day when like people will ask me like, oh, like how do I get started? I'm like, you just do. You just have to start doing something, because you're never going to be good at something. Like every job has like a training program, right? Like whether you're a creator, whether you're at an office job, whether you work at Starbucks, there's a training program to learn how to do things. Like, but you have to start the training.
Yeah, I feel like after a lot of people will think after they get a following that they are like, oh, they might not actually get more nervous about what they post, and they start getting like more scared, versus like when you're small, it feels a little safer because you don't have like any expectations, But that being said, I do always try to remind myself that these social media platforms are playgrounds, and they're not that fucking serious. They're just a place to play. And if you're playing, you're doing it right. And you should then look back at your videos. I can look back less than 6 months ago and probably show you a video where I'm like, ew, of my own. I'm like, ew, I don't like that at all. But it would be within 6 months, and I'm not going to delete it. It's fine. If I was a child, if I was like 13 when I made a video, I'd probably delete some stuff like from being a child, right? Because you should be making mistakes when you're that age, and you shouldn't be worried about it living forever. But like as an adult, you should be like, oh, that is so fun to see my growth, and look back and be like, it's okay. It's all right that like 6 months ago I thought that was funny and I don't now, or whatever.
I'm curious because obviously like being in the creator space, being an actor, being in improv and comedy, right? Like you push yourself constantly. There's a level of discipline there to keep going and have like, I hate this term, but like your North Star, your motivation, like you're using these apps as a playground. I love that term. I think that's I've never heard anybody call it that. And I think that's a really beautiful way of picturing social media, because it's just a tool. If that's your whole thing, like that can get scary, because then your mental health, I feel like, can be very negatively impacted so fast.
Yeah.
But all of that to say, like, how with all of these things that involve so many different levels and so many different types of rejection and like put down, how do you keep going? Is that something that you learned in the military, like through discipline? Is that something that you think you've always had instilled in you? Is that something you learned in your family?
I do think the military probably helped me a lot with just keep going, just the nonsense of like, no, you're just gonna you're keep going. But I also feel like personally, it's just that I'm not where I want to be professionally. I have goals and I have those aspirations. And so if I'm not continuing to keep going, then I feel like I've given up on those aspirations. So to me, that's it. That's kind of the my North Star is that like, well, I want to accomplish these things. So stopping isn't an option. Um, it never has felt like an option. It just felt like, no, just keep making stuff. And I am inspired by people that continue to make it around me. And I realize the only common ground or common denominator between those people is that they kept going. Yes, some people get very lucky from a very young age and something falls into their lap and they were talented enough for it to land beautifully and they could accomplish that thing. But for me, I just feel like I am accomplished and successful and good at the things that I do. And I see how I can continue to get better at them. As an actor, I still take acting classes. Every year I find out what it's going to be and how I'm going to improve on those things because you can't just keep auditioning and hoping that you're going to get the better thing. And when it comes to acting specifically, and rejection, let's talk about it. um, you are going to be rejected for so many maddening reasons that have nothing to do with your talents that you have to be willing to make your own stuff so that you can show people what you're capable of in the midst of being rejected because they'll never see you in the same light that you see yourself unless you can create that space of showing them what you're capable of. And that's very, very hard to do. If I feel like my first 5-6 years of auditioning were for Marines or for soldiers or for soldier with PTSD and it would be these crazy roles that like if you see or know me, they don't fit the kind of the way I present myself and the way I act and the kind of characters I play. They might fit me on paper if you look at my resume, but I understand how casting works, and they're just going to look at me and go, "Small jawline, asymmetrical features, get out of here. Give me the guy that looks like he just walked out of a motorcycle bar, and that's going to be our veteran." And so, like, casting is nonsense. Make your own art along the way, and eventually, people see you for what you're capable of. That's how you keep going.
Hell yeah. I love that. I feel like that's a really great place to like transition us into those questions that I do for all of my guests. But before I do that, I do just have a curiosity. What would be like a dream role for you?
A dream role for me would be like a Kenneth from 30 Rock, played by Jack McBrayer, or like a Tony Hale playing Buster on Arrested Development. These are dream roles. These are idiots that are played so intelligently, if that makes sense. These are like it's a character that usually just feels like things go over their head or they misinterpret the world around them so wildly. But I think it takes these like talented actors to portray them in lovable and believable ways. And those would be like dream roles for me.
I just referenced Tony Hale's Buster from Arrested Development last night in a conversation. I freaking love that show. It's so genius. The comedic timing in that show is
absolutely
unmatched. So good.
Seasons 1 through 3, the perfection. I wanted them to keep going. I liked that they tried. It didn't work just because of everyone's schedules and what they had to do to even make it work. They're still funny, but they're nothing compared to like those first couple seasons. Yeah.
Those first couple seasons are magic. That cast is incredible. So talented. I can't wait to watch you in the future version of Arrested Development, the comedy, obviously.
Yes, please.
Yes.
I'll take
amazing.
a side role in Adults on FX whenever season 2 comes out because that season 1 just dropped and it's incredible. And I would love to just play, I don't even care, any side character in that show. Hopefully season 2, I'll put that in the universe.
All right, we're manifesting it. Universe, do your thing. Adults, you said, on FX?
Yeah, watch it.
Right.
Genuinely a free plug.
You know what? I will watch it, and then I'll watch season 2 with you in it, and that's what we're gonna
Yes,
do.
let's
Heck
go.
yes. Okay, Jonah, this has been so delightful. Let me ask you my top 4 hard-hitting questions. Question number 1.
Let's go.
What is a song that when you're feeling down or rejected or whatever, you can listen to, and it might not, like, fix it, but it's gonna at least, like, make you feel a little bit better in the moment?
That's so funny that it might not fix it is a funny, like, just like, I don't might not fix it.
Might not fix it.
Okay, this is a definitely like, I'm one of those people that goes back and forth. Oh, a Band-Aid on camera. That was disgusting. I just held up my hand and my Band-Aid was hanging from this cut that I got last night. Do you see how gross that was? I had to call it out because if anyone's watching the video footage, I look like a sicko and they'd be like, "Get out of the pool, sir. Your Band-Aid is disgusting." Anyways, I cut my wrist last night. Not that serious. Um, sorry.
No, you're fine. I
Hey,
hope you're okay.
I'm fine. I'm good. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say "No Children" by the Mountain Goats, and it is a sad song, but like a good song, and like a just I love it. I love it. And as a dad, that seems like an insane choice because I love my kids to death, but it is just like one of those songs that like I love a story that feels like you're emotionally making me feel like I know exactly where you're at right now, and
Mm.
that's fun. That's deep.
Listen, I am a Taylor Swift fan. Everybody
Yeah.
that listens to this podcast hears me probably I mention her I think every episode. So,
My wife
got it in, folks.
is just a huge Swiftie. You'd get along so well. I like Taylor Swift. I think I haven't listened like religiously to her albums all the way through since probably the last 3. I've only listened to like the hits on the radio. So I don't know what I'm missing lately, so I should go do a deeper dive, but I love her. She's lovely.
I love that. I think there are fans of all sizes. You don't have to listen to all of her work. She is so much. First of all, her last album was like 32 songs, 31 songs. I'm a real fan.
Wait,
Um,
I want to do another song. Can I do 2 songs?
wait, yes.
Okay, a cover of Hayloft by Nickel Creek, not
Ooh.
Nickelback. Don't come at me. Nickel Creek, an incredible band. How dare you anyone think that they're Nickelback? They're not. But they do a cover of Hayloft that blows my mind.
Okay, I'm gonna have to listen to this. I don't think I've ever heard of Nickel Creek. I have heard of Nickelback, of course, but
See, that's
Nickel Creek
sad.
is
That's sad news. If you like
I
folk,
know.
they were like young prodigies. I feel like they started as a band when they were like 14 and 17, like kids.
Mhm.
Uh, and I'm pretty sure they've been playing together that long, but they're my age and incredible.
Is this like an upbeat song? Because you said the last one was like a sad song.
Yeah,
So.
I wanted to balance it out. I think this one's about romping in the hay in the barn without your dad catching you and coming out to shoot your boyfriend. So, yeah,
Oh,
it's fun.
that's fun.
It's a good
I
vibe.
like that. A little cheeky.
Yeah.
Okay, great answers. I can't wait to. I'm gonna add them to a playlist at the end of the season for like everybody's
Oh, fun.
choice
Okay,
here.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take 10 more. Here we go. No, just
Okay, I do have another question though. Somewhat similar, a little different. I call this your rejection rescue kit when you're kind of
Mm.
feeling down in the dumps. What is something you do or an item that you reach for that like will make you feel a little better?
An item or what else?
Or just like something you do. Like I've had people
Yeah.
say that they like play with their dog. I've had people say that they drink a bottle of wine. Depends.
Okay, this is good. So as an actor, because the rejection is so common, I kind of have a system in place for, especially when it's a role that I wanted. Like, so if I audition for something that felt like a big deal, I mourn it and I allow myself to mourn it for like 2 days usually. I just give myself that time and I'm like, I'm in the mourning phase. I'm sad that I lost that thing. And that feels good to let myself be like, oh, I really wanted that. And I'm going to let myself mourn it. That is just a healthy step in the process for me. There's plenty of roles that I'm like, take it or leave it. Didn't even think about it after auditioning. Fine. But when it's one of those ones that like really felt like, oh, I was perfect for whatever, I feel like you deserve the space to mourn. And so I give it to myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to mourn for these 2 days. But I think a good counterbalance to that as well is, even though I have mourning time built into loss, I also build an opposite thing in it, which is that I have this problem that when I book something that's really exciting, feels like a big deal to me, as soon as that project is over, I get depressed for like
Mm.
deeply, and like it's immediate. It's like, oh my God, day one of that thing being over, or even coming home from set. And it's like, oh, that was so fun. It can hit me quick. And so I feel like there's a good counterbalance to that too, is when that hits me, I remind myself to live in like the joy of that accomplishment. So I don't let myself live in this thing's over. I stop that and I go, no, no, celebrate how excited a younger version of you, or someone that wouldn't have just gotten that, a version of you that didn't just get that, would feel to tell yourself, hey, you booked that, you were in that TV show, whatever. And so I let myself sit in that for a different way. So it's kind of both ends.
Wait, okay. I love that you talked about like the sadness that comes from like you get something and then it like you've done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it immediately
that's
hits you because, and I think it's a byproduct of being this person that has goals beyond the thing that you just did. So you're
Mhm.
like, oh, that was so fun, but like, how do I get the next that? And how do I, and like, so then you don't spend nearly the amount of time you need in celebrating the joy of that thing, because as soon as it was over, you start freaking out.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. That was a great piece of advice, I think, because it's important to celebrate your wins too and like let yourself feel your feelings around that and like feel proud of yourself. It's good to feel proud of yourself.
I agree. And I have to tell myself it, and it's good. And it's good to tell yourself it. It's going to be natural that you feel that way.
Mhm.
But recognizing it is such a quick, for me, I've noticed as soon as I recognize it, I can find a lot of joy in spending some time lingering on how happy that thing made me feel. And that takes me out of that funk that I'm in, almost immediately, because I just get to remind myself of how exciting that accomplishment was and how much it meant to me.
I love that so much. What was the last thing you did scared?
Whenever I have to sing in an audition, I freak out mentally. I just don't like, and this is funny coming from someone that did like musical theater. Uh, I just don't believe in my voice. And so it terrifies me to do. Even in like a comedic setting, I'm still like, I don't like to sing. Comedy makes it a little easier, but not quite. So when I know I'm being judged based off the merit of my voice, I freak out a little bit. So I had an audition recently that I just had to do scared. And it didn't stop me from going. And that made me happy that I still did the thing and I rehearsed for it and I worked on it and I did it scared.
Hell yeah. Do it scared. Do it scared. I love that. Congrats on doing that too. It's not easy to do. Singing for an audition is terrifying. I can affirm that. Final question for you of the day. What piece of advice would you like to leave the listeners with today? It can be based on what we've talked about. It can be completely out of left field.
Find more ways to yes and things that you like. So that's such an improviser idiot thing for me to say. But when you see something you like and you're like, I want to be doing that, don't be like, oh, they did it already. Don't be like, well, how, can I do it too? Just be like, yes. And how would you do it? Like, just simply ask yourself how you would do it, and have fun with what that brings to you, because that and is going to be different for everyone. And the and is what makes it uniquely you.
That's uniquely you, Mr. Improv over here. I love that answer. That's great. Oh, this has been such a delight. Thank you so much for coming on Access Denied, Jonah.
Thank you for having me. I loved it.
This
Let's
is so
let's
fun.
become friends for years, so that this is the same as any other one of your podcast friends.
I hope so. We're gonna make that happen. We still have to go to a show together. We were talking about that, so
Yeah.
let's make it happen. But where can
Hopefully,
everybody be friends with you online? Where can they find you?
I have simplified this. I think I'm the same at everywhere. So whatever you use, just look up No Duh Jonah. Duh spelled DUH, and then Jonah's JONAH. So No Duh Jonah. Anywhere you like to watch videos or see people chat, or what is it, Blue Sky? See people write things.
Yes, I love it so much. It will be linked down below, friends, so be sure to go check out Jonah's amazing content. And thank you again so much for coming on. This has been so fun.
Thanks for
And
having
everybody
me.
listening, I will see you next week. Bye.
Ciao.
And that concludes another episode of Access Denied. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you like this week's episode, be sure to hit that subscription button and notification bell here on YouTube, or go check us out on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss another episode. We have so much exciting content coming out for season 2. You're not going to want to miss it. I'd like to give a huge shout out to JP Warner Sound for dropping this sick beat that you're listening to right now. And finally, if you'd like to rep your love of Access Denied, you now can with our very exciting merch line, featuring a very special Access Denied mug so that you can sip your morning tea while you listen to me spill the accessibility. Anyways, friends, thank you so much once again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye!